agents has been working on recruiting another agent from another office for quite some time. Now, he's been telling us kind of the benefits of coming to our brokerage, been telling her these benefits, but her impression is, I am just getting so many awesome things from my brokerage. There's no way I could ever leave the brokerage. But he keeps following up with her, going over different things, and finally, he asked her a list of questions that really got her thinking, that really opened her eyes to, is my brokerage really providing me any value at all? That is what we're talking about today on The Hustle, guys. Stay tuned.
This is The Real Estate Hustle, a podcast about everything to grow and improve your real estate career. Broadcasting on Facebook Live. Here are your hosts, Rick Robinson and Travis Green.
Hey, Real Estate Hustlers, welcome to episode 23 of The Real Estate Hustle. We are broadcasting live today here in Rexburg, Idaho. Now, guys, we invite all of you who are watching on Google Play or are watching on YouTube or on Stitcher, Google Play, podcast app, wherever you might be, please make sure to subscribe, like, share. Those subscriptions mean a lot to us. And, guys, a big shout out to our listeners and this is a real picture behind us from Phoenix, Arizona, which happens to be Travis's hometown. This is what it looks like, right? Because this is how I envision Phoenix.
Closer to the Yuma side, it does, yes. Okay. Yes, right. Yes.
Well, very cool. And today I'm here next to Travis. How's Travis doing today?
We're good. You know, spring's on its way. We're not quite going to get to this, I don't think, here in Idaho, but
probably not.
But spring's on its way. We're doing really well. We're excited to talk to you today. We've got some great information, and yeah, you know, I'm really doing well.
But you haven't been. He has been so sick.
You know, we have been. Yeah, our family got the bug this last weekend, and it caught a lot of us all at the same time. But we're on the mend. We're doing well. So, yes, I am doing really well.
Happy to be back on
That's right. That's right. I am.
Well, cool. Well, guys, we are very happy to be here with you today. We've been running a little bit incognito for about the past 10 days or so. We've had a lot going on at our brokerage. Greg, who's running our tech table, he had his baby. His wife had their baby. He didn't have his baby.
Yeah.
So they welcomed a new addition to their family last week, and then we made some pretty big announcements at our brokerage last week. Rolled out some new technology, and we actually did something really fun. We rented out an old, historic, over 100-year-old theater.
Yeah.
And we had a big training meeting in there with our brokerage. This is a picture of it behind us, and a lot of exciting things happening in our brokerage that last week just happened to require a ton of our time. So we weren't able to join you guys last week, but we're back. We're here. It's
excited.
A new month.
It is.
And Travis, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing this month?
You know, it is a new month. It is a new opportunity. We have a new topic we're discussing, and it's all about the brokerage.
Yeah.
We're talking about the brokerage. It's an important, very important piece of your business. You have to ask yourself a question. Why are you at the specific brokerage that you're at?
Yeah.
This is a very important question you need to ask yourself, but why? Why are we concerned about this? Why should everybody listening and beyond be asking themselves, why am I at this specific brokerage? What do you think?
You know, I think it's interesting. We were just actually talking right before the show, which we often do.
Yeah.
We see each other a lot.
That's right.
But anyway, we were just talking about, you know, it's interesting how people end up at their brokerages. And a lot of times what we kind of come to realize, and we'll talk about this here in a minute too, but a lot of them just kind of end up at their brokerage just really, really randomly. In fact, we were just talking about how Travis ended up at his first two brokerages. In fact, why don't you share kind of what that story is? Because I think it's really interesting.
So the question of why are you at your brokerage, I think you hit on that. A lot of times it's by accident.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I have an opening. Okay. Or it's by a simple invitation. Or you have a friend who's there and you want to go work next to your friend. Or there's a convenient place. Or there's maybe it's a certain brokerage that has been a national brand for a long time, and you think, well, I'm going to go there.
Right.
Doesn't always mean they're the best, but there's a lot of reasons why. So, yeah, back to my story. I first got into real estate, I don't know, we're pushing 16, 17 years ago now, somewhere in that range. And really, I was selling television advertising. I was an accounts executive for a local CBS affiliate, and I was in one of the local real estate brokerages here trying to sell her advertising for her real estate business. And although that didn't go all that well at the moment, she really liked how the owner of the brokerage was a lady, and she called me one day, and she said, I really liked how you were presenting yourself, what you did, and et cetera, and so on.
Interesting.
And she offered me a job in real estate as a buyer's agent. And I asked myself, and I even said to her, I said, great, what's real estate? I didn't even know.
So funny. Probably not how most people get into it, but
it isn't.
That's interesting.
It isn't. So it was purely by invitation. I didn't really think about it. It was just her having a need, seeing that I had some potential, and she asked me if I was interested. So I had owned a house. I owned the current home that I was living in, so I had some experience in real estate, but I didn't know much beyond signing some papers. That was about it. So I had the invitation, had a good run, great experience, wonderful brokerage, but it kind of hit a limit. Things kind of stopped, got stale. I grew as far as I was going to grow, and things changed. Mm-hmm. So then it was time to move on, and I went to another brokerage. And this brokerage offered leads, offered growth.
Leads
offered,
or quote leads?
Yeah, quote leads. That's kind of what I was trying to do there.
Gotcha.
The quote leads, because they want to bring you in, and good for all the brokerages for trying this.
Sure.
But they say, hey, we're going to feed you leads. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. We want you to come work with us. And I said, okay, let's do this. And I knew who the people were. I knew the owners in our local town here. Mm-hmm. We made the change. But again, all that fell apart. It didn't work out. So my experiences in real estate with two brokerages were good. Uh-huh. But there were some things that didn't line up with what they were telling me. There were some experiences that didn't happen the way I anticipated they would. And so a third change was necessary.
Yeah.
Which is
where we're at today.
Yeah. So we took, and Rick and I together, we took our experiences, and Rick has a story to share too about this. But yes, I had experiences in two different brokerages that were just basically happened upon convenience, upon promises, upon the dangling carrot of, hey, we're gonna set you up, we're gonna give you leads, we're gonna make sure you succeed, and then you enter the door and they kind of just disappear and leave it to your own. So those are my experiences, and moving on, that's kind of how I entered my world of real estate.
It's interesting. So Travis and I ended up at the same brokerage, which is kind of how we became Team Green. Mm-hmm. But my journey into that brokerage is a little bit different. I'd gone to real estate school, got my license, and there's a bunch of real estate companies that come to those classes and recruit. And I decided to go one way with one brokerage. It was all kinds of excited. I was all pumped up. I was going to all their hoorah meetings and drinking their Kool-Aid and doing everything I thought was so exciting about real estate. Mm-hmm. And I was committed to these guys. It was Keller Williams is who I was committed to. I'd signed the documents, the mentor, everything. And I was meeting with their marketing department. I was so excited to go on with them. And the deal I had with them was, okay, cool, you guys are in this city. You don't have an office in my city. So I'm going to go start an office with you guys, for you guys. And so I started looking around in this local area for an office space that I could rent and convert it into an office up here for their company. So anyway, I was calling around, and one of the buildings I happened to call on was owned by my neighbor, who's also a broker of another real estate company. And so I said, hey, just looking at your office space and looking to lease it out. He's like, oh, what are you looking to do? And then I remembered what he did. I'm like, well, I guess kind of open a competing office.
Yeah, that's right next to
exactly
that you own. Yeah.
So anyway, so he said, why don't you and I talk? So we talked, and I decided to go that direction, which I think was a huge blessing in disguise, because that's how Travis and I were able to meet up. But it was interesting. So he had told me, we're the top producing office in the area, this, that, and the other, which is great, and they had a lot of high producers. But then the second I came on board, he brought me in his office and said, hey, you know what? I'm not here to babysit you. Good luck. You're going to get out of it as much as you put into it, and that's about all the help I'll give you.
There's your desk.
Here's your desk, yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit about my story, a little bit about Travis's. If you guys want to know the story about how Travis and I kind of came together, pick up a copy of our book, What They Don't Teach You in Real Estate School. It's on Amazon.com. Pick that up. It's a great book. The first, 11 pages is our story. We spill the beans about everything of how our secret meetings we had and everything. It's a really, really kind of a cool story about how Travis and I came to form Team Green Real Estate. It kind of, everything's just, we spilled our guts.
We did. We told the whole story. And during that process, I think you would agree that it was quite an uncomfortable situation.
Oh, boy.
Here we are both in this brokerage that we stumbled across into in different ways and for different reasons. But in the end, decided there's a better way to do this.
Yeah.
we took what we knew, what we felt, what our dreams and visions were, and we said, we're not getting it here.
Yeah.
The promises weren't kept. We know there's a better way. We're going to make this work our way, which has proven to be outstanding.
In fact, we just looked up the statistics today. We just got them. And in 2017, Travis and I, just the two of us, with the systems and the model that we have in our business, the way we built it, out of 609 agents in our MLS, we are ranked number 5 in the whole MLS. The 4 people above us are teams of about 20 agents.
Isn't that great?
So we're pretty excited to see that we're number 5, and the only 4 people beating us were people that had about 20 people on their team.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool. We're excited to see that.
And getting there was an uncomfortable situation. I mean, we had vision, we had drive, we had ambition to make it happen, but so many unknowns.
Yeah, tons.
So many unknowns. And let me talk to you for just a moment about comfort and what that is. Sometimes comfort, being comfortable, is actually your greatest enemy. It's your biggest hindrance. And when you don't feel like you're growing, when you've hit a stagnant point of your career, you're just cruising, you're comfortable, you're really going backwards. Change is inevitable. It's necessary. Mm-hmm. We're going to go through it. And if you're not with it, you're falling behind.
Right.
In fact, let me quote one of Rick's favorite movies here, The Greatest Showman.
Oh.
He says...
Only movie I've seen 3 times in the theaters and listened to the soundtrack for 2 months straight.
Every day. Yes, but it's good. I agree. It's good. It's good. So,
I like that,
yes,
Chris.
no excuses.
Yeah,
it was just popped up. No excuses. But let me talk to you about comfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress. That's from The Greatest Showman. But it's true. When you get comfortable, you stop growing, you stop trying, you stop dreaming, thinking, getting outside the box, adjusting, changing with the times. And so, as is the story with your brokerage, you think, okay, let's talk about the brown and gold colored brokerage out there. That's been
I wonder who that is.
I don't know. There's
a
big number behind it. But it's been that color, that way forever. In fact, do you remember, we had the chance, Rick and I, once in a while to go to a local university here in our town and teach the economics classes or business classes. And I asked the question amongst, I don't know, there's probably 30 students in the class.
This was so interesting.
I asked the question. I said, look, we're talking about real estate. I said, everybody in the room, raise your hand who has seen this brown and gold colored sign across Rexburg. One person raised their hand. Mm-hmm. Then I asked, who has seen our sign with the teal and the grays and this and that and Rick and mine's face on it? Nearly every one of them raised their hand.
Which was so interesting to me.
So a small office of us two, with our advertising, our vision, our dream, putting out there to the world on a smaller scale than some of the bigger brokerage, was more recognized, and apparently 5 out of 608.
Yeah, 609.
609. Yeah. We know our systems. We know what we're doing. So yes, getting comfortable or going with that name brand doesn't always mean you're going to be successful, doesn't always mean you're making the right choices. So everybody claims to be the best. Everyone claims to give you floor time. There's a profit sharing. There's a cap rate. There's all these different things, but there's also multi-level marketing in that. There's also franchise fees in that. They say, hey, we're cloud-based. We're awesome. What else? What other things are out there that they promise to be?
Well, I think a lot of people just look straight at the commission split. And so a lot of times it's a 70-30 with... in fact, I'll share some of these Facebook comments I got a little bit earlier today about other brokerages. But a lot of people look at that 70-30 with, I think this particular lady was a $25,000 cap.
Okay.
So look at that. And then you go to the team model. It's like, hey, we're a 50-50 split with everything on you, but... of your 50%, our brokerage takes another 40% of your 50%, which Yikes. I still don't know why people do that. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
But because they're promised leads, essentially, is what it comes down to.
Wow.
But so there's so many different models out there, which can make it so confusing to choose a brokerage.
That's right. They give you a lot of promises. There's a lot of things. And we're not saying they're all bad. If they fit your mojo, great. Yeah. But you need to look at the bottom line. Just like what Rick was talking about earlier, there's an agent that one of our agents has been talking to, and she's fearful of making a change because of all she's going to lose. But when you really break it down to what that brokerage is offering you, is it really that great? And they may say, well, we're giving you a bunch of leads, but then they're taking 40% of your 50%, leaving you with 10%. Plus, by the way, if you want to print paper at 10 cents a sheet, that adds up pretty quick too. So there's a lot of things to dissect and look at with your brokerage. Don't get caught up in, as Rick says, the Kool-Aid side of it.
Right.
But look at the actual numbers, the leads, the help, the training, the support, the access to your broker for questions. A lot of different things. Are they changing and adjusting, getting with the times, rolling with today's technology? Are they sitting comfortable? Or are they moving forward?
Right.
So there's a lot of things to be looking at with your brokerage.
You know, and Chris Cheney just popped up. I think that was Chris Cheney. All we saw was a little picture, but I think that was his profile picture. One of our real estate hustlers in Florida. Is that where Chris is at? I can't remember where Chris is at. Anyway, probably somewhere warmer than Rexburg, Idaho.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, he just brought up a comment. I think it went away, but I think it said that over 50% of brokerages over 50% of number one brokerages in the U.S. are independents. Is that what it said, Greg? Yeah, something like that. So. Hey, Matt Jensen, how are you? Thanks for popping up. Matt actually helped us out with some stuff today. Thank you, Matt. But anyway, so it's interesting because a lot of people gravitate towards these big name brand brokerages where in reality they're not necessarily the best ones to go to, or a lot of times they're so big that by the time they implement technology into this huge system, it's 5 years outdated.
Right.
So a lot of times the big names aren't the best.
Right.
But
And sometimes when their training says, hey, we got awesome training, contact the first 50 friends and families and fools that you know, and there's your training.
I love it.
Right? That's not training. So you really need to dissect and ask what they really offer. But the other thing is you need to ask yourself, do I care enough to go to that brokerage? In other words, what I'm saying is, do you have vision? What are you bringing to the table? Mm-hmm. Do you love and believe in this brokerage, XYZ brokerage, enough to say, I'm going to invest into it, not just show up?
Yeah.
There's a difference between showing up and investing and contributing to it. Do you believe enough in it to open your heart, your mind, and get outside the box? Mm-hmm. Or are you just going to go along for the ride and be one of the sheep?
Right.
So I think when you're looking at brokerages, not only look at what it has to offer in terms of splits, training, fees, hidden fees, and all that, but how do you feel about it? Don't just go on the ride because the train's coming through.
Yeah.
But do you have something to contribute to it? Because that will make you breathe life and and really get somewhere. So that's a thought that I had.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to jump over to these Facebook comments that we had. Okay. I put out this question in several different real estate groups, and I just asked people, hey, how did you choose your first brokerage? Or how do you choose your brokerage in general? So we had a lot of interesting comments. One person said, it chose me. I don't know what that means.
It happens.
Yeah, I guess a divine intervention or something. Anyway, another one said it was, I love the stress-free environment of my small independent agency. Thanks for that feedback, Shane. Yeah, a lot of times the smaller ones there's a lot less stress because there's just a lot less things you have to learn or systems you have to know and things like that.
Or competition or feeling like you have to look over your desk and all that. So that's true. When you're choosing a brokerage, your personality style. Are you with the big brokerage type or the small brokerage, the more subtle environment? So good point.
So somebody said it chose me. Another person said it was a mistake. No matter what, it was just a pure mistake. I shouldn't have chose that brokerage. Another one said that I went to this particular broker who sat with me for 3 hours, answering all my questions before I even took the licensing class. She said any professional who would spend that amount of time with me, answering questions, guiding me, is going to win big points with me. Not to mention the training, the splits, the perks, and all these different things. And yes, Shane, by the way, he says there's a lot less BS at some of these smaller brokerages. Yeah. So I asked, okay, hey, this brokerage sounds intriguing. So tell me about the splits. Tell me about the training. Tell me about everything that they do for you. If it's such an awesome brokerage, I feel this lady is at the right brokerage. She said that, it's a 70-30 split, and then it goes to 90-10. It's one-on-one training with your broker. Everything's online. You have in-house trainings. You have free CRM, free marketing, free drone photos, a free website, apps, signed lockboxes, and a support staff to help you with the file. So anyway, she was going through all these different things that the brokerage offers. I said, that sounds like a fantastic brokerage.
Right.
Located in Florida, by the way.
Right.
And this last person, real quick, I just picked a few of the comments. They said, we went with a big name in the area and it was a huge mistake financially. Because we just talked about how unfavorable some of the splits are with these big companies. we've had quite a few agents come from some of those big companies, and they were taking big chunks of their commissions.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, more than...
That's motivating.
Yeah, so he said, yeah, it was a huge mistake financially. It was all about the brokerage and less about the agents, which is, I think, what we see a lot. A lot of times the brokerages are just kind of, what's in it for me, you know, not for the agents. So, and he said, I switched last February to my current brokerage where the agents, our owners have ownership in it, and it has training. He said, it's the best thing I've ever done. And I think he said, I forgot to expand this, but I think he said my career went up about $2 million in sale from when I switched to that brokerage. So he actually did switch to a cloud-based brokerage, which gave him a lot of tools, which is kind of a new and upcoming thing. So anyway, so it's really interesting, all the different models that are out there, how people found their brokerage. So real quick, with the time we have left, I want to tell you this story about this conversation that I started the podcast with about our agent who talked to this other agent who was claiming her brokerage was so amazing. So we first met this other agent. We'll call her
Susie.
Susie, we met her at a continuing education class. And one of our agents just kind of struck up a conversation from her, saying, hey, cool, where do you work? Oh, I work over here. Oh, cool, how do you like your brokerage? Yeah, my brokerage is fantastic. He said, cool, what makes it so fantastic? You know, we just started questioning her. And she's like, oh, you know, they provide me tons of leads. They just, you know, it's an awesome brand. It's floor time. It's, a great name, you know, in the area, and all, you know, just going on and on. So anyway, he decided a couple weeks later, he's like, you know, I'm going to follow up with her and just kind of ask her a few more questions about her brokerage. And she's like, yeah, you know, they just give me tons of leads. I couldn't ever imagine leaving. I couldn't ever imagine leaving floor time. I could never imagine not having the leads. And so he started to question her deeper. And these are some of the questions you guys need to be answering. So he says, you know what? Why don't you sit down sometime and actually quantify? Because he was trying to get her to come to our brokerage because he knew that she was leaving a ton on the table. What happens a lot of times is we just get, like Travis was talking about, we get comfortable in our brokerage and just assume we're in the right place. When a lot of times, like this one guy said, it was a huge financial mistake for me to be at that brokerage. So anyway, he said, why don't you sit down and just do me a favor. Sit down and quantify how many leads came from your brokerage and how many were your leads of the deals that you closed in 2017. And she said, well, I could already tell you it's at least 50-50. I think the brokerage probably brought gave me more than 50% of the leads. And anyway, he said, you know, just sit down and take a look, you know, and then give me a call back and let me know what you find out. So she didn't call back, but she texted him back. And she said, oh my gosh.
Eye-opening, huh?
Oh man, did it open her eyes. She's like, they've just been telling me that A, I would be nothing without them, B, they're the whole reason I'm in business, and C, like, that we're giving you tons and tons of leads, and so that going back to A, you can't live without us.
Isn't that something?
So, and then when she sat down and quantified it, she I think it was about 90% were her own leads, and only about 10% were the ones the brokerage gave her. And then she looked at her split, which did not have any cap, by the way. There was no cap on her commission splits. I think it was a 70-30 or 75-25 with no cap. So the brokerage was just, and the brokerage said in their to defend that, because she questioned them on that, they said, we provide you with so much value that we can't afford to cap our agents. And now she's all of a sudden like,
what's my value?
What the heck's the value? What value are you giving me?
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. So what we want to do is challenge you guys, and we're not telling everybody, go leave your brokerages, but we want to make sure that everybody's at the right brokerage, whatever brokerage that might be. Now, it's going to be different for everybody because different personalities and, you know, different goals in real estate. But the key to finding success in real estate is making sure you're in the right place, the place that's going to give you the right atmosphere, the right tools, the right everything to make sure that you're successful. So our challenge to you guys today, one of them, is to start quantifying their promises and start to challenge the promises that the brokerage makes to you, and just see if they're actually following through on the promises. And if they say, hey, Dev, how are you? If they actually are following through with what they're promising to give you. So
that's right.
These are the questions that you should be asking yourself. One of them is what's in it for me? Okay. This is one that one of our agents always talks about. What's in it for me? Okay, this is kind of, he talks about dangling an envelope in front of you. Okay, what's in it for me? What should bring me to your brokerage? Now, one of the things is you need to ask yourself, what's in it for me financially? What are my splits going to be? How much do I get to take home? How much does the brokerage make? When Travis and I sat down and quantified I think this is actually one of our big reasons when we decided to leave our brokerage and start our own company.
Oh, yeah.
Is we looked, because we were a 70-30 split, 18,000 cap, but then there's these huge transaction fees afterwards. Massive. Mm-hmm. And between the 70-30 split, 18,000 cap, between Travis and I, we paid over $60,000 into the brokerage that year.
In 1 year, right.
Who did nothing, literally nothing for us. In 2 years, I never got one lead from them.
And at the time, it was like just clipping along, just doing our
thing.
thing.
We were comfortable.
We were
totally comfortable there.
When you step back and look at this, at the real picture, we're like, oh, this is eye-opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we looked, we're like, man, for the $60,000 we gave him, we could do wonders.
Yeah.
With bringing technology, incredible marketing, and just all kinds of cool stuff. And so that's when we decided, holy smokes, like, no way.
Not for us, not for where we were heading. Now, let's look at this in terms of like a pair of shoes, right?
Okay.
Some
high heels or platforms?
Whatever you decide to wear that
okay,
way.
All right, cool. Let's stick with high heels.
So, trying to run a marathon in high heels may not work, but when you put on those running shoes, they work. It fits. And so when you're looking at that brokerage, you may be the type that just says, here's my goals. I want to sell 6 homes a year.
Yeah.
I just want to be a part of something. And you know what? That's fine.
And maybe they go join a team.
And they join a team, and it's okay.
Which is great.
But if you're looking for something different, you've got to really quantify where you're at.
Yeah.
Do you know what the difference is between a rut and a grave?
No.
The difference between a rut and a grave?
I don't.
The dimensions. Whether you're in a rut or a grave, you're still stuck. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. So you've got to look at what your goals are and which scenario fits you best. You may not want to earn $100,000 a year in real estate. You're the 5, 6, 8 deals a year type person, and you're good. So anyway, mold the brokerage around what your goals are. I think is important.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, that's super interesting. And then Chris just brought up a point too. A comment just popped up, but they go away too fast. I wish we could keep them up there longer. Anyway, I think he said something to the extent of there's a lot of agents that he knows out there that do over $30 million a year in transactions that are on was it a 70-30? 78% split with no caps. Doing $30 million in volume. That's a lot of money to the brokerage.
It's a lot of money. It is.
So if they're providing that much value to you, then by all means,
sure,
happily pay them at however much money that is, which is a lot. But anyway, so always make sure you know what's in it for you financially. And then another important aspect is kind of what's in it for you kind of in the social environment.
Sure.
How, are you going to fit in with the people there? That's a huge player really in any job is are you going to work well with the people that you work with? Is there a lot of, we get some of these brokerages all over, some of these really big ones, and there's just a lot of internal competition where everybody's scared to talk because the other agent next door might hear their marketing idea, a lot of backbiting and a lot of backstabbing and a lot of back everything. But anyway, so that's another important aspect to look at. Do you just want to run around scared all the time at your own brokerage?
That's
you're paying.
Huge. That's huge. You've got to be comfortable. You've got to be yourself.
Yeah.
If you can't be yourself where you're at, you're in the wrong place.
Yep. And then what's in it for you as far as, amen, says Deb, yes. What's in it for you as far as training goes? Okay, there isn't a single brokerage out there who should not be helping you guys with training. Now, we do have to say we've seen a lot of other brokerages training materials, and a lot of it is extremely outdated. So they might lure you in with training, but look at the value of it. Is it current to today? Is it actually talking about, using technology to run your real estate business, or is it talking about calling for sale by owners from newspaper ads, which I'm not sure who's doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's in it for you training, and also does the training cost you? Because a lot of times I was, another brokerage I'd looked at one point, I knew somebody who worked there, and they said, oh, we got all kinds of cool training programs, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'll totally sign up. Oh, wait, but it's like $2,000 to go to it. I'm like, oh, $2,000 on top of all the money I'm already going to be paying them in my commission splits? Yeah. And then I said, what goes on at these trainings? And she told me, this is the weird one. She's like, well, it was kind of awkward, and I actually left early because they laid me on the ground and sprinkled money on me and told me this is what it feels like to be rich. Now get on your phone, call your first 50 contacts, and I'm like,
really?
Oh, I'm not paying money for that.
Oh, my.
So
no.
that kind of helped me with recipe cards. Yes, Chris. I got to love the recipe cards. I think he says recipe cards in every live stream that we do because he knows how much I hate that. Anyway, so make sure you look at how much training, how much they're willing to invest into you. Now, we wish we could just bring all you guys into Team Green because we know we have a lot to offer. If you want to see what a brokerage should be offering, go to jointeamgreen.com. Green has an E at the end. Jointeamgreen.com to see what we offer, because that should be kind of the standard for what brokerages should offer.
We've been there. We understand it. We've been in these places. We understand what's needed. We understand your position because we've been in those shoes. So we have absolutely catered and created a system that it's what is needed.
Yeah.
It's what is needed and required for your success.
Exactly. And by sending you guys to our webpage, jointeamgreen.com, we're not trying to recruit you guys. We're only in Idaho. So don't think that's some like marketing scheme. But
nope.
But anyway, I mean, we offer some of the best splits in the nation. We literally invest a lot of money into every new agent that we bring on. For something that actually Dev just popped up, who's an attorney, he said that if they're not willing to invest in your training, then I forgot what the rest of it said, but essentially these go away way too fast. Something to the effect of they should be willing to invest in your training. They shouldn't be charging you extra for it. So that's something we offer. We do. In fact, we bring them into the Real Estate Hustle 6-week Academy and do that for free for them, plus tons of other cool things. Lots of other really cool technology pieces that are awesome tools to help them succeed in their real estate career. So that's what we do.
I think that a lot of brokerage have good intentions, saying,
I agree.
We're going to teach this great big group the basics of how to sell real estate, and we're going to call that training.
Yeah.
But every personality is different.
Yeah.
People have different specialties. Maybe have different struggles. Maybe this group of people is doing just fine in this area, but struggling in this one area. But it's hard to separate that. So they just teach in the masses. So there are specific, in the Real Estate Hustle, there's training there that speaks to different pain points versus just to a mass. And I think that's the way training ought to be. Training ought to be able to speak to your specific need, not the stuff you already know something about.
Yep.
So anyway,
I totally agree.
I think it needs to be just different than what we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, guys, make sure you're asking yourself these questions. What's in it for you financially? What are they doing to train you? What's that social environment like? And then start quantifying their promises. See if they're actually following through or if they're just kind of blowing smoke. I hate to break it to you guys, but they're not always telling the truth. A lot of times it's just,
it's a numbers
every
game.
agent I bring on, I make more money is kind of a lot of times what brokerages feel. So make sure that you're getting the best value out of your brokerage, the best training, the best social environment, and the best financial splits. You guys, if it's your career, make sure you're not just giving up a huge amount of money to these guys. Obviously you do have to pay for the roof over your head and things like that. But anyway, make sure you're not giving too much of it away. What Chris said, 78% split, $30 million with no cap. I'm sorry, that's way too much money. That's insane.
Times how many agents, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's got to be balanced.
Not that brokers shouldn't be able to, they're not not-for-profits. They're not, these non-profit organizations, but you've just got to make sure it's within reason. So
make sure it's the right fit for your personality. Make sure it's the right fit for your financial goals. Make sure it's the right fit for your training desires, and make some decisions that way. Don't just go with the flow.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're happy to be back.
That's right.
Sorry we had to take last week off again. Just so much crazy stuff going on. But join us again next week, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for episode 24 of the Real Estate Hustle. I know.
It's exciting.
We're getting close to a quarter of 100.
A quarter of 100. That's good math.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, again, if you're listening on iTunes or Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, any of those places, or watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit that like or subscribe button and then give us 5-star rating. That would mean the world to us. It will help us keep growing this podcast and allow us to reach more people. So I think, has the time come?
The time has come.
All
Get
right.
back to work.
Okay, break's over, guys. Okay, see you later.
Thank you.